WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, often trying rare and exotic whiskeys. 285 bottles. Tennessee Rye Whiskey, yay. That Boutique Whiskey Company, very yay. 10th anniversary, so 10th birthday, so I think it's the 10th birthday of That Boutique Whiskey Company back then in 2022. I know I'm 2 years too late, so sorry. And this was bottled 2022, as I said, and the 50% ABV, 500 milliliters, sorry, 500 centiliters, 500 milliliters, 50 centiliters, got it now. And they used ex-Oloroso casks and ex-Pedro Ximenez casks. Whiskybase 218243. Now, all of That Boutique whiskey bottles basically have a nice little, oh, I even forgot this, nice little box here. And, can I get them out? No, I can't even get them out. They're stickers! I'm a grown man and I get stickers, alright? So, let's see here. I have a stickers here. Oh, I have a whole, look what they gave me here with this, alright? So, I get stickers, alright? I don't know if you can see this or not, but, yay, That Boutique Whiskey Company, what is it called here? Stickers batch number 1. So, yeah, I have no idea why they put stickers in there, but hey, merchandise. Good. Now, bottle price is, I actually did a bottle share with this, 54 euros, which if you take the price, it's like 78 euros for a 0.7 liter bottle, which we're used to. There is a website, it's called That Boutique Whiskey Company, all one word.com. And if you go to the Tennessee Rye for the 10th birthday, you actually have information. So, the distillery, Tennessee Whiskey, the ABV, 50%, the age is 5 years, the category is rye whiskey, it's batch number 4. It had the recommended retail price of £48.95, including VAT, and is available now. So, and they have a little bit of information about this bottling, and I'm going to contradict them at least twice. Our 4th batch from this unnamed Tennessee distillery is a 5-year-old rye whiskey. Good. Marriage from liquids that had spent finishing periods in ex-Oloroso casks and ex-Pedro Ximenez casks. It is a release of just 230 bottles at 50%, 100 proof US. Now, first of all, it's not 230. According to the label, it's 285. Now, it's not that I'm the problem reading the wrong thing. I am reading the right thing. They just have the wrong information. The next thing is casks. We have 285 bottles, which means basically it's 142 liters of juice that went into these bottles. 142 liters of juice is less than half of a bourbon barrel. Bourbon barrel is 200 liters, is a little bit more than half, all right? So if you're talking about sherry butt, those are 500 liters. So that's like 4 times the amount that you need. If you're talking about octaves, those are 80 liters. That would make sense. So you take one 80 liter, you take another 80 liter, and you put the two together, and boom. So what I think they did is they bought octaves, sherry and Pedro Ximenez. They put it in there for an undefined amount of time, and then bottled, married the two. But why do you have Oloroso casks? Were there more than one cask with Oloroso? It was a Oloroso cask and a Pedro Ximenez cask. Or did you actually mix and match? I don't know. Alright. Sadly, we're not able to name the distillery, but you'll notice it's definitely labeled as a Tennessee whiskey, which narrows it down an awful lot. There are over 35 different distilleries in Tennessee that make whiskey. Did it really narrow it down? Whiskey production has a rich history in Tennessee. I spent over a week in Tennessee just in August 2024 visiting different distilleries there. A rich history in Tennessee that only just survived both national prohibition, the Great Experiment, and Tennessee prohibition, which started many, many years earlier. So, did you know that Tennessee whiskey producers are required, if they're not Benjamin Pritchard, by law to use a filtering step between, known as the Lincoln County process prior to aging the whiskeys? Yes, of course. Let's talk about the Lincoln County process for a second. I was at a dozen different distilleries in Tennessee, and it was very interesting. Some people had like 9 to 12 feet of a sugar maple charcoal filtering setup. And I was at this one distillery, they had 10 inches. A little tiny pipe, about this small. They never changed their sugar maple charcoal. They do it to legally call it Tennessee whiskey. Now, if you don't want to call it Tennessee whiskey, if you don't want to use the Lincoln County process, just call it Tennessee bourbon, Tennessee rye. You don't need to do it. But that's Tennessee whiskey is bourbon plus. Has to be made in Tennessee and go through that Lincoln County process before you put it into the barrel. So you don't do it after, you can. That would be then Gentleman Jack, which is charcoal filtered before it goes in the barrel and after it's been in the barrel. But before you put it in the barrel, you need to do it unless you're Pritchard, which had been grandfathered in because they sued and said, hey, nope. And now the Lincoln County process, if you believe some of the historians out there, this came from Africa. So the Africans have been using charcoal filtration for many, 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 many generations before they were forced as slaves to work at different distilleries in the USA. In particular, Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels had Uncle Nearest, Nathan Green. He used that process, and basically Jack Daniels says, I want to force everyone in Tennessee that wants to make Tennessee whiskey to use it as well. And I personally think they had forgotten where that tradition came from. And Fawn Weaver basically has now reminded us of what happened back then. Now, other people were charcoal filtering before Jack Daniels doing as well, but that's that. All right. So, about the label. Now, this is a very interesting label. This is not my first label with for that boutique whiskey company, with the police officer, with him having a hose, with here the sugar maple being burnt and changed into charcoal. I was actually at the George Dickel Distillery, now they like to call it Cascade Hollow, and they showed us the area where they do that, and that's great. I was at other distilleries. They showed us also the area where they do that. Tennessee whiskey must be filtered through charcoal. This filtering step is known as the Lincoln County process prior to aging whiskey. And here it says our label features a whole load of sugar, maple, and fire, making charcoal in some sort of hollow another clue. No. It's not Cascade Hollow whiskey, and this is not Dickel juice. Dickel rye is made at MGP, at least up until now. All right, so they do a charcoal filtration. They don't even bottle it in Tennessee. They bottle it at the Diageo bottling facility outside the state, and they sell it as Dickel rye. It says it. Read the back of the bottle. Made in Indiana. All right, so good. Now, I was at the distillery, and I talked to my tour guide, great lady, Nicole Austin. What she's doing there is fabulous. She's really, really changing things. And they actually, this year, 2024, for the first time, according to my tour guide, they made their own rye. So in 5, maybe 4, maybe 6 years from now, there will be rye from Dickel, made in Tennessee. It's going to be fantastic. They're doing other things as well. Maybe a single malt, maybe something else. So, but this is not made there. All right, this was probably, and I'm fairly sure, made at Tennessee Distilling Company down in Columbia, Tennessee. All right, so so that little another clue question mark? No, sorry, don't give us clues that are wrong, please. All right, and there's also a familiar face if you're up to date on your zombie apocalypse television drama. I have no idea who that is, and I don't care. One last little thing before I come to reviewing this whiskey, that boutique whiskey company. That boutique whiskey company was sold to a very big corporation called AB InBev. If you've ever had a Budweiser beer, they own it. All right, so the Atom Group, which is the owner of that boutique whiskey company, back in 2008, April 2018, sold the Atom Group to ZX Ventures, which is the part of the Anheuser-Busch InBev group there. August 2024, just a few weeks ago, just a few days ago, the owner of Adam Brands Malted and Maverick Drinks, that's Justin Petsaft, he bought back the company. And I'm so happy because that boutique whiskey company is it says here, independent bottlers of the world's best distilleries. They do fantastic stuff over here in Europe. They are 500 milliliter bottles, which are illegal in America. They just did some 700s, which means they might make their way to America one day. They're doing good stuff. A lot of my most unique whiskeys and they just go to a new distillery that just opened up and said, hey, can we buy a couple casks too? Okay. Yeah, what are you going to do? It's not a cask program share. No, we're going to bottle it for you, all right? We're just going to use our own label, do a nice little cool label on top of it, and you get they have the artists that make the labels here, and they'll do that. I was like, okay, good. I love it. I love that boutique whiskey company. I think they are so crazily cool. And if you're into new whiskey, some people call me, we have the hunters and gatherers. They call me a hunter and a bottle sharer. So I hunt out new products. I hunt out new distilleries. I hunt out new players in the game of whiskey. And that boutique whiskey company makes my life a lot easier. All right, so let's move on. Finally to the whiskey. A lot of talking today. This is an independent German bottler called Fassmeister. Fass means cask and Meister means master, so cask masters. And this is a special German maturation of a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Isn't that confusing? They bought barrels from Kentucky straight bourbon, brought it to Germany in the barrel, which is allowed, and then they refilled it. Marcel, he filled it into octaves. Pedro Ximenez and Oloroso octaves, let it sit for up to almost a year, and then emptied half of the octaves together and bottled his first expression. I think there are, 60 bottles. He did 60 bottles. I have one bottle of 60 here. This was filled in April of 2024, 57.5% ABV. Now, this is something German independent bottlers are doing more and more. I've been asked many times, Jason, can you get me a barrel? I said, not yet, wait. This was one of my favorite bottles of last year. This is a 10-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon. It says Kentucky bourbon on it only. Single barrel straight whiskey distilled and matured in the U.S. What they did is they brought the barrel. They did not bring the barrel. I think they actually brought a tote over. It might have been the barrel. I don't know. What they did is they had actually in Germany a barrel of Pedro Ximenez, and they filled it in the barrel, let it set for an additional 9 months, I think it was. And the Pedro Ximenez cask, it was distilled 2023. It was bottled 2020. Distilled 2013. Bottled 2023. Cask strength 57.8%. It was 65 euros. A cask strength single 10-year-old bottle and finished for 65 euros. This was amazing. Beautiful value for money. And it has the most patriotic label I've ever seen. You have a flag of America in the back. You have the bald eagle in the front. I mean, come on. This is an independent bottler called the Whiskey Cask. All one word. So I have no idea if they'll send bottles outside of Germany. But even this is so... This was one of... I think 200 bottles, 180, whatever, all right? A 10-year-old. This is a 6-year-old product. This is 5-year-old product. I'm only going to do this as a comparison because it's exactly the same thing. Octaves, probably. Octaves, definitely. Pedro Ximenez, Oloroso. This is a rye. This is a bourbon. Color, not that much of a difference. A lot of flavor here. I'm not... Once again, I'm ranting and raving. I'm not the biggest fan here of Kentucky straight bourbon finished in product XYZ. I like the products, I just want to protect the category. Category of bourbon, of straight whiskeys, virgin American oak. These are not virgin American oak. exclusively. And so we're watering down that category. We need to create a new category of whiskeys in America for finished products, is my personal opinion. You write down your personal opinion there. I really see a dilemma coming in the next 10 years if we continue to finish everything in America, not in new charred oak. That is our unique selling point, all right? On the nose. I don't get rye. I get so much sherry influence that the rye has been buried. You could have used vodka here. It would have been the same, all right? So, over here, bourbon. With a special little note of strawberries and prunes? Plums? Let's go for plums. All right, dried plums or prunes, so dried fruit. This is very, very nice. I like that. This is even better, but hey, as I said. Let's try this 50%, 57.5, all right? So they went for the standard 100 proof, 50%, which I don't dislike. That's actually pretty cool there. I just think this is so over-sherried that it's too much. On the nose, I should have gotten, I'm sorry, I forgot to read this. Rich and fruity, juicy melon, papaya, maybe, overripe strawberries, yes, black cherry, yes, plums, yes, hints of dark chocolate, yes, polished wood, maybe, and this is something I really must say, wow, you put it down here, chalk dust. Chalk dust. One of their nosing notes, chalk dust. Cheers. I'm shaking my head because I don't get rye. I get sherry, I get sherry, I get sherry. This is so overpowering that it's just... do you want bourbon with sherry flavoring or sherry finishing? Or do you want your sherry with a little bit of, I don't even get the rye at the end, of rye whiskey? The taste should be rich and well-rounded, no. On the palate, a slow build-up of cooking spices, maybe rich caramel joined by cherry, dark chocolate, burnt toast, don't get that, and a hint of wood char. It's so weird. Let's go over here and then come back. This is well done. The sherry influence of Pedro Ximenez and Oloroso does not overpower the whiskey. The bourbon is still there. Maybe the 57.5 really helps. I don't know. And the finish is good. I taste bourbon. I don't taste rye here. And that just really, really screws me up. That's weird. I'm really searching. It's a little bit in the end, but no. It's a C-. Not because it's bad, because it does not actually taste like rye whiskey. It tastes like a, we have fortified wines, which is a sherry, and instead of fortifying it up to 40%, they fortified it up to 50%. So instead of fortifying it up to 20%, they fortified it up to 50%. That's what I wanted to say. Wow. Value for money, would I pay 78 or so euros for this as a 0.7 liter bottle? Would I buy another one of these for 55 euros? No. It's a D+, all right? I thoroughly enjoy that boutique whiskey companies. Are they cheap whiskeys? No. Are they exotic and rare whiskeys? Yes, and that's what I love about them. So, first question of the day was, what do you think about finished products of American straight whiskeys and in particular bourbons? Yes or no? The second product is, what is your favorite That Boutique Whiskey Company bottling, if you've had them, only in Europe basically, in Asia? And the last question I'm going to ask is, what is your favorite finished American whiskey? Is it going to be a simple Angel's Envy? Is it going to be something else? There's a lot of people doing a lot of experiments out there now, alright? So, double oak used to be, hey, it's a new charred oak container. We used it once. And then we just fill it up into a second new used oak containers. Now people are doing other things with little wood blocks and spirals and so on, and calling it double oak. Okay, I'm not really sure if that's what I want in the world, but that's the purists coming through again. Thank you very much for watching, listening, and maybe even commenting. WhiskyJason here, ranting about everything that's not right in my world of whiskey that I would like to have changed. What would you like to rant about? Bye-bye.